Hi from my platform, LYNDA'S TV show. If it is your first time, you are welcome. Please, after watching this video, if you like what I'm doing, please subscribe, put on your notification bell to all notification. It is very, very important because it will enable you to know when I upload a new video. Here we upload videos on daily basis as it is happening. We are bringing it live and direct, undirected to you. After watching, you are free to criticize, you are free to say your opinion, but let us say it constructively. Myself, Linda, will be standing here watching this video together with you from the beginning to the end. Then we'll go to the comment section. I appreciate you all, my lovely subscribers, followers, those who comment and share this video.
I bring you greetings on behalf of Nadeco and the people of Nigeria. Nadeco welcomes you to the first of its series of events planned over the next several weeks regarding the recently held presidential election in Nigeria. For those who are not quite familiar with Nadeco, I'll give you a little bit about the group. The National Democratic Coalition, for short, Nadeco, is Nigeria's premier and foremost pro-democracy group based here in Washington, D.C. It was initially registered in Nigeria in 1994 by a group of very prominent politicians and pro-democracy campaigners who needed a platform to fight the military regime of the infamous dictator General Sani Abacha after he took power through a military coup in November 1993 and reneged on his promises to hold elections and return Nigeria to democracy, as was its birthright since obtaining freedom from British colonial rule on October 1, 1960. Sorry about that. A broad-based coalition transcending ethnic and religious lines was formed, which later gave birth to Nadeco in Nigeria. No sooner had Nadeco begun a peaceful resistance against the then military leader, General Sani Abacha, started to assassinate and jail its members. In order to save their lives, several of Nadeco members fled into exile to neighboring African countries, the United Kingdom, the United States, and Canada. In 1995, those Nadeco members who fled from Nigeria got together and registered a new Nadeco in the United States. Since 1995, when Nadeco was registered here in the US, it has continued to push for good governance and credible elections in Nigeria. Nadeco alleges that the election results pronounced by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, on February 25 through 26, 2023, are fundamentally at odds with Nigerian election laws and constitute a wholesale disenfranchisement of Nigerian voters caused by the pervasive rot of Nigeria's increasingly kleptocratic political structure. Nadeco demands that INEC draw back its curtains to let the full light of truth prove the transparency and veracity of the 2023 electoral process. It is without question that nearly all of the electoral reforms implemented to safeguard the 2023 Nigerian elections have been savaged by INEC and scattered to the winds of tyranny. It is beyond debate that initial investigation into the 2023 Nigerian presidential election discloses that Nigeria's most recent election is the polar opposite of transparency, fairness, and electoral integrity. This election was polluted by blatant bribery and widespread corruption. Even INEC itself has admitted to its abject failures to comply with the requisite transparency laws mandating real-time electronic transmission of election results from the polling units to the public, instead opting to cloak the electronic results in darkness before emerging with a declared rather than proved winner who is presently incapable of being fully embraced by the world. The INEC action clearly constitutes negligence per se and electoral fraud, as it violated the very statutory provisions and guidelines that are designed to protect against the type of fraud caused by its failure to transmit the results in real time. The people of Nigeria are supposed to be the ones the statute is designed to protect. Instead, they have found themselves at the receiving end of the resulting gross injustice. Nadeco maintains that the 2023 presidential election is an attempt to disenfranchise the Nigerian people through the four horsemen of democracy's doom: bribery, voter intimidation, insecurity, and vote rigging, all harnessed to skew the results of the 2023 presidential election. Nadeco calls upon the people and the judiciary of Nigeria and international community to join hands in a concerted effort toward global condemnation and absolute rejection of the hasty, hollow, and illegitimate result declared by INEC as being contrary to the will of the people and the rule of law. Here are some positions that Nadeco has taken. Nadeco is gravely concerned about the irregularities, voter intimidation, violence, the breach of the National Electoral Act, and most importantly, the abrupt and horrid pronouncement of the dubious 2023 presidential election results. This, in our viewpoint, signals a whole disenfranchisement of voters in Africa's largest nation. Nadeco's goals and singular mandate have always been to fight for the rule of law and democracy in Nigeria as Nigeria's watchdog of democracy. Nadeco hereby, as a first step, formally severs its relationship with Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu as a former founding member of Nadeco USA for his participation in the worst electoral fraud in Nigeria's recent history. Nadeco and Tinubu fought Abacha as the military dictator who scuttled the will of the Nigerian people in 1993 June 12 elections. Ironically, exactly 30 years later, in 2023, Nadeco is fighting the same species of dictatorship, but only this time a much more dangerous civilian dictatorship, a kleptocracy mostly perpetuated by one of those who fought Abacha then. Nadeco will not look the other way simply because the fraud was perpetrated by one of its founding members. Nadeco urges the Biden administration to withhold any recognition of the product of the flawed elections. Nadeco further entreats the U.S. Congress to introduce a resolution calling on the U.S. administration not to recognize the product of the election. It is the product of a poisonous tree. Nadeco calls on the international community to support the empaneling of a team of internationally acclaimed technical experts to examine, interrogate, and analyze the INEC servers and beavers and all the other equipments that were used to extract the original votes and information. Nadeco implores the Nigerian people and the judiciary of Nigeria, acting in concert with the international community, to join together in a concerted effort toward global condemnation and absolute rejection of the hasty, hollow, and illegitimate results declared by INEC as being contrary to the will of the people and rule of law. Nadeco demands that the chairman of Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, must resign or be removed immediately. Nadeco urgently requests that all countries worldwide, especially the United States, place an immediate visa ban upon Professor Mahmoud Yakubu. Nadeco solemnly exhorts the U.S. to not deviate from its democratic standards in Africa just because it fears competition with China and seeks to curry favor with illegitimate dictators who come to power through bribery, force, intimidation, and vote rigging. The U.S. should come out and condemn the apparent corruption of the electoral process and impose an immediate visa ban on those suspected to have compromised the polls. Nadeco demands that President Buhari and INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu should be held jointly and severally liable and accountable by the Nigerian courts and international community for what is currently happening across Nigeria in the days following the 2023 elections and for what would happen in the next few weeks or months should INEC's noxious banquet be forced down Nigeria's throats. These are the positions that Nadeco would like to put out there for the international community. People in Nigeria are going to court, but we are appealing to the court of public opinion to see what happened in Nigeria. We're basically challenging the process, because the very law, Electoral Act that was put in place to guide against what happened was broken. So the Nigerian people and international community would like to know why that was the case. Because once that was broken, it means the protection that that Electoral Act provided for Nigerians was gone. Thank you.
Good afternoon, gentlemen, and thank you very much for coming out today. As he mentioned, I am with the Diaspora Election Monitoring Observatory, and we were participant observers in the election that just held in Nigeria, or should I clarify, the sham elections that just held in Nigeria. I want to point out that as a participant observer, I traveled to my home state to participate in the elections, and the BIAFRA's technology refused to accredit me, so I experienced disenfranchisement right there and then. I know that at least half a dozen of my family members who voted in 2019 were unable to vote this time because of the cash crunch that occurred in the economy. So there were systematic efforts to disenfranchise and intimidate or strangle voters from being able to participate. Well, you can imagine my shock after monitoring in Benue, Plateau, and FCT and seeing thousands of Nigerians peacefully coming out to vote, to see that the results were not uploaded. Now, just to show you the extent of the mischief that occurred, the results for the National Assembly elections, which occurred at the same time, simultaneously with the presidential results, were able to be uploaded, but the presidential election results were not uploaded. And till this day, as we speak, the results have not even been completely uploaded. What is even shocking is that we have seen photographs of individuals, a woman in a bathroom, uploaded supposedly as results on INEC's IRF page till this day. How can you elect someone on the basis of the photograph of a woman in the bathroom? I want to quickly mention that a lot of the international observers who were there were as disenchanted as I was. There were 4 African presidents, former presidents, who were in Nigeria to observe the elections. There were over 144,000 observers deployed across the country, and they all were disenchanted by what they saw. I want to say that what happened in Nigeria was not election observation, but a crime watch. We watched a crime being perpetrated on a country of 200 million people with utter and complete impunity. I also want to say that President Jimmy Carter has been vindicated. He went and observed elections in Nigeria many years ago, and he was so upset at the impunity and the brazen theft of the election that he vowed never to go back to Nigeria again. And as that distinguished president is in hospice care, he stands vindicated because Nigeria has refused to learn its lesson. One of the American observers that I spoke with mentioned two things. One, he said that, well, at least this election was better than the 2003 election. And I said to him, if we're going back 20 years to compare, then we have not made any progress. And as Nadeco has pointed out, this is even 30 years. The June 12 election, which was a travesty and a brazen rape of democracy or attempted democracy, is basically happening again. The sad point is that one of our co-travelers in the effort to restore democracy to Nigeria is now complicit in undermining democracy in Nigeria. In 1997, when I came on exile myself, after having been imprisoned by General Abacha, I had the privilege of meeting Senator Bola Tinubu in Nadeco in exile in the UK. So we have been in the trenches fighting for democracy, and it is painful for us to see what is happening, that we're not making the progress that we think we should make. I want to wrap up my remarks by making a couple of points. That it is not that the elections in Nigeria were handled badly, but that the rigging in Nigeria was handled badly. There was no effort, there was no sincere effort to conduct an election in Nigeria. What happened was an insincere effort to conduct rigging. And that is why you will see cancellations. You will see unbelievable atrocities that were done. They didn't even make a genuine effort to hide the manipulation of the elections. I also want to make this second point, that it isn't that they failed to meet global standards, but that they failed to meet even their own standards. There is no way that INEC can say that the travesty that occurred was what they had promised time and time and again. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say that I join my voice to what Nadeco has said today. The INEC chairman needs to resign for once again betraying the trust of the Nigerian people. The United States government should not dignify the travesty that has occurred by legitimizing illegitimate rulers. And most importantly, we must not fail the young Nigerians who came out in droves in the sun and put their fate in their own hands, that they wanted to rescue their country from bad leadership, only to be abused and misused in this manner. So I call upon the government of General Buhari, if he has.
Thank you so much, my wonderful viewers, for watching this video together with me from the beginning to the end. Like I said before, if you like what you see here, if you like what I do in this platform, as you have finished watching this video, please hit that red button that says subscribe and put on your notification bell to all notification. In that way, you'll be able to know when I upload a new video. Share my videos, leave your comments in the comment section constructively. Until I meet your way again in my next video, I still remain your Linda's TV show. Bye-bye.